Alabama opens SEC play this weekend as the Crimson Tide welcomes the 15th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels to Bryant-Denny Stadium. Alabama has won 7 in a row against Ole Miss and leads the all-time series 58-10, including a 29-2 record over the Rebels in Tuscaloosa. Last season in Oxford, Ole Miss jumped out to a 10-0 lead, with the Tide trailing 24-17 late in the third quarter. Quarterback Bryce Young connected with Ja'Cory Brooks for a 5-yard score to tie the game at 24. The Alabama defense held in the fourth, and Will Reichard hit 2 field goals to secure the 30-24 win. The last time the Rebels came to Tuscaloosa 2 years ago.
Here we go, get your popcorn ready.
Coach Kiffin and the Rebels got their popcorn ready, but it was the Tide that provided the entertainment. Alabama dominated Ole Miss. Brian Robinson Jr. rushed for 171 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Tide led 42-7 midway through the fourth quarter en route to the 42-21 win. Lane Kiffin is in his 4th year at Ole Miss. During that time, he's compiled a 26-13 record as head coach of the Rebels. He's very familiar with Coach Saban and the Crimson Tide, having served as offensive coordinator in Tuscaloosa for the 2014 through 2016 seasons, helping the Tide win the 2015 National Championship, a 45-40 win over Clemson. This season, Ole Miss enters Bryant-Denny undefeated at 3-0, winning by an average score of 52-16. The Rebels picked up those 3 wins against Mercer, Tulane, and Georgia Tech. The Rebels defeated the Yellow Jackets last week in Oxford, 48-23.
We're looking forward to, SEC opener. Ole Miss is a really, really good team. Lane has done a great job there with the program. This is one of the best offensive teams in the country in terms of things that they do, multiples that they have, the way their players are coached and how they execute.
Ole Miss leads the SEC and is 4th in the nation in scoring offense and 2nd in the conference in total offense at over 526 yards per game. Leading the Rebels on offense is junior quarterback Jackson Dart. Dart is 2nd in the SEC in total offense at 355 yards per game. Dart has completed 66% of his passes for 852 yards with 7 touchdowns and just 1 interception. Dart is also the Rebels' leading rusher, as he's compiled 213 yards on the ground, averaging almost 7 yards per carry and 71 yards per game. The Rebels will look to get running back Quinshon Judkins going, as he led the SEC in rushing last season as a freshman, but has been dealing with an upper body injury this season. Judkins averaged over 120 yards per game last season, but this season the sophomore from Pike Road, Alabama, has managed averaging only 48 yards per game, but he does lead the SEC with 4 rushing touchdowns. Trey Harris had an incredible start to the season as he had 6 receptions for 133 yards and 4 touchdowns against Mercer. In all, Harris has 8 catches on the season, with 5 of those being touchdowns, but he was injured in the first half of Game 2 against Tulane and didn't play last week against Georgia Tech. In his absence, Jordan Watkins has led the Rebels receiving corps, averaging over 96 yards per game with a touchdown. There are several former Alabama assistant coaches, grad assistants, and even a former player under Coach Saban on Lane Kiffin's coaching staff. That includes the defensive coordinator for the Crimson Tide for the past 5 seasons until this year. During the offseason, Pete Golden made the move to Oxford to lead the Ole Miss defense.
These guys play well, they play hard. Pete does a good job with the defense. They got a good scheme. I think they're playing a lot better on defense because of it. And they play with a lot of inspiration, and they do a good job of executing the scheme.
Alabama is 15-1 in SEC home openers under Coach Saban, winning by an average score of 37-14. The Crimson Tide also owns the best home winning percentage in all of college football at .839. Kickoff is scheduled for 2:30 in Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's the SEC on CBS Game of the Week. Reporting from the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm Christopher England with Tide TV.